a short distance from Dubai, but it's like a different world, and we promised you some fast times and some surprises here in the Ras Al Khaimah half marathon. Follow our coverage to see exactly what happened. Hello and welcome to the 18th edition of the Ras Al Khaimah half marathon event. There are also 2 kilometre, 4 kilometre and 10 kilometre events, with this year over 10,000 participants already signed up to take part. The course goes around Al Marjan Island, but also takes in loops along the old course on the mainland, which is known for its fast times.
The RAK half marathon is part of the big dream that we have for Ras Al Khaimah. We're looking at tripling our number of visitors by the end of the decade, by reaching to 3.5 million visitors. So it is part of that big dream. Where I want to see it, definitely bigger, most participants. Maybe by the end of the decade we celebrate 30,000, since it's a 2030. Let's see how it goes. But we go big always, and this would be maybe our target.
Well, good morning to you. It is just 6:20 a.m. here in Ras Al Khaimah, the northernmost of the 7 Emirates in the United Arab Emirates. My name's Tim Hutchings. Beside me, Paula Radcliffe, former world record holder in the marathon and 3 times world champion in the half marathon. Pat Butcher is part of our team as well here. You'll be seeing him shortly. We look forward to this 18th edition of the Ras Al Khaimah half marathon. This is an emirate that punches above its weight. It really does, particularly in half marathon racing. They've had 4 world records over the years, and there's a possibility of more this morning when the elite get underway in just 7 or 8 minutes time.
The Ras Al Khaimah half marathon began with a bang back in 2007. The very first race, Sammy Wanjiru of Kenya set a new world record. He, of course, went on to win the Olympic marathon the following year. However, the world records nowadays have tumbled. Women's is just over 62 minutes, men's is 57 minutes and a half, but Lassoy says he's ready to do 57 minutes. So we'll wait and see. Now, on the women's side, we've got 2 great contenders, both from Ethiopia, Taye and Germawit. They've both done exactly 64 minutes and 14 seconds, which is the course record here. But Taye, much better as a track performer. If she can bring that track talent to the course this year, she's probably a marginal favourite. But we're looking for 2 fast times here in RAK 25.
Hi, good morning.
Again, I'm from Nigeria. I just want to do a bit of a PB and yeah, have fun.
My name is Grinch. I'm from Romania, and I'm planning to do on 126.
Today, I'm expecting to run a 205 in the PR.
I'm expecting to break records today.
I am going to drag this old man round, and that's about it, really.
There's the scene. The sun will be up soon to the east of Ras Al Khaimah, where the Hajj Mountains dominate this peninsula. Paula, the course is very, very fast indeed. Dead flat, great road surface. And you and I have both been running on it over the last couple of days as we see the lineup of events coming up in the next couple of hours.
Yep, they essentially a 4-lap course, isn't it? Starts out with 2 laps on what was the old course on what they call the mainland, which is a very, very flat loop. Around a couple of 5 kilometre loops, essentially a little bit around close to that, and then another 2 on the island, as you can see here.
Temperature 13 degrees centigrade, very, very slight wind, conditions just about perfect, Paula. You know full well what is perfect for good racing. That looks pretty much spot on.
That does, and if you contrast it to last year when we had the high humidity and the fog that was enveloping the athletes, much more conducive conditions to fast racing here today, which is what we like to see.
There is the start line, as you can see, the same place as the finish line. There is the lineup for this race, though, and what a star-studded field it is. Lazoy, who is on record as saying that he wants to break the world record today, he's going to attack it. Plenty of these fellows have broken the 60-minute barrier, several of them the 59-minute barrier. There's the lineup for that elite women's field, and Khaimah Gebrezet That's a winner in 2022 in the course record. But if anything, the women's field is stronger in depth, Paula.
I think so, and an intriguing head-to-head setting it up with Hutchings Taya at the top there. They are actually tied on personal bests. Further down, number 13 there, Lemlem Hailu as well. If she can translate her track pedigree to running quickly on the road, will also be one to watch. So there's an intriguing lineup. We were told yesterday that Seon will not go. She has withdrawn with illness. That whistle that you just heard, I think, was the couple of minutes to the start call. So they have received approval from down the course and they can start getting the race.
They are racing then here in Ras Al Khaimah. The small but very high caliber elite fields of men and women head off. They will take a left-hand turn very, very shortly onto the mainland, where they will begin that first of two huge loops. I reckon each loop is about 5.5 kilometers. They negotiate those two loops and then they head on to the Al Marjan Island, where they do two loops of about 4.5 kilometers each.
So if we have a look at what that looks like actually on the nice graphic map, there is that left-hand turn and then they go out along that straight road, make a quick turnabout, come back. It's 2 laps of this route and then they will have completed just over 10k. When they come back, a bit more than 10k, isn't it? And then they head out onto the Al Marjan Island, up another turnaround. So only a few turns on this course. Sharp turns at each end and then some good flat fast running in between and then into the finish on the final lap.
You should have got your head around it by now. A couple of laps of that yellow loop on the land side of the course, and then a couple of laps on the peninsula on the Al Marjan Island. But for the men, Paula, I was fascinated yesterday at the technical meeting when it was announced there will be no pacemakers. The women have got a pacemaker who will take them out, we hope, at something around course record pace, if not faster. 2 of the women have, we'll talk about this shortly, 2 of the women have said they'd like to attack the world record. But in the men's race, no pacemaker, and the guys seem confident enough to not need one.
No, exactly, and straight away it is Elasoy who goes to the front. He talked about he wants to get that world record down from 57.30 it stands at now to Yomif Kajelska, and he wanted to get that down to 57 minutes and no messing around at the start, straight to the front. Maybe feels that he doesn't need a pacemaker. He can latch on to the lights perhaps of that bike up ahead, which will show them the shortest route and has the camera man on it as well. Now, quick loop back to the women's race, because already at this early stage we are seeing developments there, and you can see in the purple vest tracking behind the male pacemaker in black is Hutchings Taya, who is certainly setting out with a vengeance and trying to chase down that world record of Gidey. Remember, that's just under 63 minutes, and she seems to be going for that. And right behind her, the trio of women, yellow, white and purple, have a quick decision to make. Do they go with this pace or settle back?
Well, the sky is lightening very gradually, as you can see. This big pack of elite men needs to be moving along at around 244, 245 per kilometre. Well, look how quickly that daylight is increasing. 246 for the last kilometre for the men. So that second kilometre, far more like it. If that first kilometre was indeed 257, that second kilometre 256 is really where we need it to be. Down around 244, 245 would be ideal, but at 2.5 kilometres, this is a pretty big men's pack. 10 athletes in this field having gone on to 60 minutes. 2k in 5:58, yes, super fast for that women's race. That predicted race time, you see 60:26. They need to be going 2 minutes quicker than that as a predicted race time. So each K needs to be quite a few seconds quicker than that.
Yeah, and that's why you can see it's difficult physically when the pace concertina is like that, and you see the pack bunch up as it's starting to do again now. That was a short-lived burst at the front from Dida, and it's not really done any damage, but it is draining systemically to have to pick the pace up and then settle back down again, pick up again. It makes it a tougher way to run than running even effort and getting a quicker time. Incidentally, the women are not too far behind, about 45 seconds behind the men, I reckon, heading towards 5k around about that 15-minute mark in time. So they have certainly set out with intent. Now, what are the men up to as they approach the turn at this end of the course? And now we'll head around that roundabout and back out on to the final one of the loops on the mainland.
Oh, and there was a faller there. Somebody's gone down. It's such a big pack, and they're negotiating a turn there. That's really awkward. Couldn't see who went down. He got up pretty quickly, but that takes the stuffing out of you. They're heading back out now, just starting the second big lap on the inland portion of the course. Maybe the fact it's such a big pack, an indication that they are not moving as quick as they should be. That's looking a bit too comfortable.
Also can mean that there starts to be a bit of looking around and everybody's waiting for somebody else to take on those duties of getting the pace moving. What's happening in the women's race is that back to Khaimah.
Khaimah here, wearing W1. 24-year-old with a best of 64.40. She's a bronze medalist. World Championships over 10,000 metres in Budapest. Well, she's on schedule to run something like 63.15. If she can maintain that tempo, we would see perhaps the second fastest time in history this morning.
Those look like great numbers.
It does, and it's great to see so many locals and so many people travelling as well to come here and take part in this race and kind of experience a little bit of what the elite athletes get in terms of a great organisation and a really flat, fast course here.
Away they go then. Well, they're approaching 10k, as you can see, a couple hundred metres from 10k, and they will get a shock, I think, many of these fellas when they see the time. There is a timing car in front of them. They should be able to see the time, but gloves being worn by one or two, perhaps an indication of why they're not moving as fast as we would like. Matata there, wearing those pink gloves. It is about 11 or 12 degrees out there, pretty cold. But there it is, the 10k mark passed in about 28.34. Way outside what we were hoping. And Lazoy is leading that pack from Matata, Kipkoech, Hillary Kipkoech, Deriba, Dida, Mozinu Paula.
Yeah, he's doing a good job and pacing the lead of the women's race in Khaimah, who has gone out extremely quickly, as we've said, and also metronomic and smart in the way that she is running. She's running very fast, but she's not taking huge risks with that. Some signs of fatigue, I guess, starting to creep in now as those kilometres now clicking by just outside of 3 minutes instead of just on it or under it as she was doing, but still phenomenally fast racing. And you can see behind her, although there is a little bit of a gap starting to open up to the pacer ahead of her, there she's not in any danger of being caught by the chase group of women at the moment.
Are you surprised that there's not more athletes with her? Certainly, I mean, I know she's gone out incredibly quickly. 14.57 is world record time, but there's 10k, so what, 30.05, give or take a second or two at 10k. Now, in her world record, Guide at 10k was 29.45. She went out in 15 for the first 5k, then blasted a 14.45 for the second 5k. So she's some 20 seconds down on Guide. And there it is, 30.06, the official clocking at 10k. So she's done the opposite to Guide.
We just lost about maybe 5, 6, 7, 8 seconds there. She went to pick up a bottle, bent down to pick the one on the floor that the pacer had actually dropped, and then realised that wasn't the one she wanted either, so went back. So a huge amount of time lost there at that drink station, which was unfortunate, but also perhaps indicates that she is really starting to fatigue, because she certainly wanted to be able to get her personal bottle at that station. I'm not sure she was able to do that. Now looks as though she's back into good running though.
And that wasn't brilliant thinking from her just there, stopping, glancing at bottles. I mean, just get running. As you said, she lost 5, 6, 7 seconds, maybe more there. She lost her rhythm. That could have been the difference between a course record and not a course record, or a world record and not a world record. And now it doesn't look like the world record is on, but the course record is vulnerable. W4 and W7. Zere, there to the right in the purple strip. She's that 66.04 performer who was third here a couple of years back, as we see the massed field heading out on the first inland circuit. That's a lovely sight, isn't it? But here's Khaimah working really hard, the 25-year-old. She's won 4 of her 5 half marathons last year. She's currently back in second place, 36 minutes on the clock. Back to the leader, Tae here, who is hanging on closely to the coattails of her pacemaker. And those splits, if that 11th kilometre was the 3:14, that 8-second differential is all down to that drink station mishap that we saw a few minutes ago.
It has now, for the first time, predicted race time slipped below the 1 hour mark.
It has thinned out. There's what, about 8 or 9 now in this lead pack. Lazoy 42.33 at 15k. 42.33, and so they are heading for something just down below the 1 hour mark.
So the gap is still 44 seconds back to Khaimah.
Khaimah here working all on her own, getting plenty of liquids on board, still moving really well. She's got lovely long raking stride. She's a rangy runner. I love the way she moves.
And in the men's race, it's still trading blows, isn't it, really, here, with different men having a go at the front. Back to Matata now, who's put his foot down and is starting to ask some questions of the men in that lead group and string them out a bit.
17k then, in about 48.15. And there's 9 athletes in this group now. Matata pushing on really strongly. Lazoy going with him. Lazoy is one of the pair who said that he was chasing the world record today. A lot of it is about racing now, racing smarts, isn't it? Look at that last kilometre at 2:47. It's very impressive, but it's all too late in terms of super fast times today here in Ras Al Khaimah. But let's focus on this brilliant race that's unfolding. Lazoy on the near side, nearest the camera there, up on his toes. Looks like he's in a 1500 metre race. The way he's moving, the way that his body is shifting across the ground. Matata with that rather bizarrely one pink glove now in his right hand.
Well, and another check of his watch for Matata. If he can't feel what's happening around him, he can sense that he's whittling that group down now. De Baila has not managed to stay with this, and it is only Lazoy and Dida managing to hang on to the coattails at the moment.
Matata leading from Lazoy then here in Ras Al Khaimah, and Dida has had to let go as well. He's back. Matata at 20k, 56.23, and he's earned this one. He's worked for it, and he might yet have broken Lazoy. Lazoy there, that little psychological elastic band between these pair is being stretched to the max. He has broken them. Look at the gap. And Alex Njoka Matata from Kenya is surely heading for victory in this 18th edition of the Ras Al Khaimah Half Marathon. The finish line is in sight. The finish line approaches. Alex Matata driving for the line. The battle behind goes on for the minor places. Lazoy, the pre-race favourite, the fastest in the field, is in second place. And Matata here, coming towards the line. It's going to be outside 59 minutes, but a long way under the 60-minute barrier, as Matata here is heading for a huge new personal best, and more importantly, a win in Ras Al Khaimah 2025. There it is, 59.20 unofficially for Matata.
It was not so much nice for first 10 kilometers. It was tough for me, and I just pushed one eye light at 15, 16k. Now I start feeling my body can numb off. But I'm happy because I improved my PB.
Confirmation then of that win for Matata. Kenyans and Ethiopians sharing honours alternately there in the first few places. Matata 59.25 seconds to the good ahead of Dida. Lazoy there 59.26, 1 second down in third place. Back to this women's race though, Paula, where Tae has dominated with a very aggressive first half.
Just looking at the splits in the women's race, I'm wondering if there is some wind out there on the island. Indeed, confirmation that that gap is not closing back to Khaimah, so Tae has the race wrapped up.
Here's Tae approaching the finish line. It's been a really solid run from her. The course record, 64.14 by Gebrezer 3 years ago, remains safe. That was her debut. It has been a strong run from her, ultimately one that has probably ended in disappointment for her in some respects, but she is going to be the winner of this 18th edition of the Ras Al Khaimah Half Marathon. There's no doubt about that. Taye has dominated this race. It's really been a case of her against the clock, and it has been still a very, very solid run. Under 66 minutes, as you can see. She approaches the line here. Ejgehu Taye Hailu wins here in Ras Al Khaimah. 65.52 unofficially there.
She said she was really good in shape, but after 10 kilometers, the wind is like pushing her back. So that's why she didn't do it as planned, but it's okay. I'm very happy, thanks to God.
Well, she looks philosophical, I suppose you could say, Paula, the winner of the women's race there. Ejgehu Taye, the winner in 65.52 this morning. Very comfortable victory, but it's a case of what might have been, I think, although just like the men's winner, she referred to interview ahead of Khaimah and Chalangat, she said, referred to the wind being a factor.
It was great. Actually, it was better than expected. I was like worried about the loops. But today it was very good.
The route was phenomenal. Hydration was on spot. The vibes were crazy. I was pacing a group of my runners, and we've done it 3 minutes ahead of schedule, so we're good. We're all happy.
Right at the last kilometre, I passed by this guy, Carlos, and we actually passed each other and ran together in the marathon too, the Dubai Marathon. Yeah. So that's been really lovely to finish the race with this legend.
It was amazing. So this is my dad, and we are running. I mean, you can see from the t-shirt, and I was pacing him. He was amazing. Sub 2, first half marathon.
The course is good. It's very well organized. It's a pleasure always to come back to Ras Al Khaimah.
But Paula, your final thoughts on what we've seen here in Ras Al Khaimah?
I think we've seen some exciting racing to watch rather than looking at racing on the clock, and I think, as you mentioned earlier, it was nice to see Matata rewarded for the hard work that he put in. He certainly worked hard for that victory today and personal best.
Well, it has been a great day's racing, Ras Al Khaimah. It's not even 8 in the morning here in the United Arab Emirates, but the sun is beaming down, the temperatures will rise, and the athletes will head back and recover. It's been a fabulous couple of elite races here. Do hope you've enjoyed it with myself, Tim Hutchings and Paula Radcliffe, and the production team as well for being with us. We'll see you again. Bye-bye for now from all of us in Ras Al Khaimah.
Thank you for joining us here in Ras Al Khaimah for some amazing half marathon races. Hopefully we've whet your appetite a little bit to join us, and we'll see you this time next year.
Well, good morning to you. It is just 6:20 a.m. here in Ras Al Khaimah on the start line then, and ready to go for this 18th edition of the Ras Al Khaimah Half Marathon. They are racing then here in Ras Al Khaimah. The finish line approaches. Alex Matata is heading for a huge new personal best. Ejgehu Taye Hailu wins here in Ras Al Khaimah.
I'm happy because I proved my PB.